Hey guys, welcome back to Larry TCG. In today's video, we're not going to be doing any games, but it's a little bit of a discussion or a little preparation for me for nationals coming up. So in Oceanic region, we have our Nats, our championship finals in about 3 weeks from today. I'm recording this on a Saturday, the 3rd I think today is, so I think it's actually 3 weeks to the day. OP14 is not out yet, but our local LGS has been very, very kind and let us use proxies, knowing that this is a very important tournament. And OP13 format is pretty much done. There hasn't been any events for it since December, like early December. And I guess with OP14 being the legal format for Nats, people really wanted to get in early and start practicing. So our LGS let us print proxies for the OP14 cards, and we've been able to use those cards. So it's been really fun. I have been going to a few locals and playing with a couple of decks. Mainly have been playing Boa here. I just wanted to do a discussion today, maybe brainstorm and see where we could land with a build. I also want to say I've been playing a lot of Mihawk. Earlier on the channel, like about a month ago, I did a video on Mihawk, and Mihawk was probably the most interesting deck to me initially. Obviously, Boa's very fun, and it's cool because she's Boa, and really, really cool play style. But Mihawk seemed pretty interesting to me, just as a coming from my top with Bonnie earlier in the year. I really like playing a control green deck. And as more results came out of Japan, we were seeing that Mihawk was actually really, really versatile. You could build him in multiple different ways, and a lot of really unique lists were coming out of Japan. So I didn't really know what direction I wanted to take Mihawk initially when I did do that video. At the time, I did do a Supernova version of the deck, but I think the Supernova version is pretty good. Where I landed with the list was not 100%, obviously, because it was like week 1, but I still think that the concept of a Supernova Mihawk deck is something that I want to explore, and that's what I've sort of been leaning towards with my interpretations of the deck. At the moment for Boa, I'm between two sort of different lists at the moment, but leaning towards one. So just wanted to discuss and sort of eke out some of the problems and some of the things that I want to account for when I'm preparing for Nats. So if you do like this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If you do enjoy these kind of discussion videos, leave a comment. Let's get into the video. So I'll start with Boa. This is the deck that I've been playing the most at locals. I've landed on a list that's similar to this, so I would say it's very similar to what I'm playing in person right now. It kind of changes a lot with different ratios in that. With this list, I'm really valuing the Sengoku, being able to search for this 9 cost and being able to dig cards like Perfume Fema and Kuma out of my deck. Having access to this 4 cost Boa has been really good. It's a really nice play on 4, gives the Don to your leader, and it really dissuades the opponent from attacking because they're worried that they're going to proc your leader effect. And then I've got a lot of triggers in the deck, as you can see. I've got the 4 Margaret, 4 Ran, 4 Gorgon Sister, 4 Shaki. And then I'm opting to go, of course, with the 4 Boa 9 cost, great card, but I'm opting to go with more of the 1 cost event. So this card, along with Boa herself, the 9 cost, they have a trigger that says play a character with 6k power or less and a trigger from your hand. So effectively we've got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 23. If you count these cards being able to summon something from your hand, triggers that effectively play something at that time. So these ones are a little bit less efficient just because you need to obviously have a thing in your hand. A lot of times you will have the names in your hand, like these are like the Shaki and the Gorgon Sisters are 2Ks. So you just like having them as 2Ks and you don't mind playing them off trigger. So if you do get a trigger that plays something, they're really good options to play. This Rayleigh here, I'm playing 3 of, really good. Its triggers like Mulgun pretty much, and it also has an on play that's the same. KOing a base power of 7,000 is really, really good. The stipulation that your opponent needs to be on 3 or less life. If you're versing something like Ace, oftentimes like that effect is not even going to matter, right? Versing Mihawk, it's a little less good just because you have, well, they have the Tashigi, which she can protect herself. But if they are opting to play sort of other 5 costs or other cards that they play in the mid game, then the Rayleigh can really clean that up pretty well. And yeah, just against like any other little matchup, you're able to just KO a lot of reasonable things, I would say. So I've got him around. As I said earlier, the Sengoku searches out the Kuma. Kuma is probably one of our best plays to do on the 6 or 7, just being able to heal. I think that people should probably be starving the Boa deck when I play friendlies and when I play at locals. The games that people starve me tend to be a lot trickier, just because they're not obviously giving you those triggers, and a lot of what you're playing throughout the game, if you're not triggering, is pretty average, like, if I'll be honest. You've got this Boa, which is really nice, obviously, and then you've got the Kuma, which is a really nice heal card. But if they're starving you, you're not getting the value, and it's like you're playing the card, you're pitching a card and then healing, and they're still not hitting you, so it's not the greatest. But then that's why we've got the Rayleigh as well. So we want to have this. We really don't want to be hard playing these ones out because it kind of feels bad. But if that's all we have, then I guess we can. But 6 cost is a bit steep for especially like Shakiyaku or something. For this build too, I'm also playing a bunch of other events. So I've obviously got the Slave Arrow here, 3 of that, 2 FEMA. I think that's a nice amount, just because we do have the Sengoku search and the Margaret, which can dig for it. And then of course we've got Red Rock. So Red Rock, I'm opting to play 2 copies of it. It's not searchable, but because you do draw a fair bit with the leader effect, and you can stack with the Boa, you can often get to it. And the reason I'm playing it is because I want to respect the Ace deck, and then I want to respect the Mihawk deck as well. I think you really do need to have an out to the Shanks and maybe even the Mihawk. The Law Beppos start coming down and the Shanks and the Mihawks on the field, it's going to be really, really problematic because A, they're a 7k base leader, and then B, the Shanks is going to be reducing your field as well. So there's like a 3k deficit there. So being able to red rock this Shanks pretty much as soon as it comes down is quite vital. You do have a little bit of time to be able to do that. Like if they go into their 7 on turn, they play it, and then on your 8 you can red rock it, which is a really nice answer. And then on your 10 you can play this Boa out. So that's what I'm trying to go for. But yeah, this is as I said, this is the build I've been playing at locals. I've been doing pretty well with it, I would say. People are getting better at playing into the Boa deck, but I think overall it is pretty well balanced. It's playing less triggers than the other build, which I'll show in just a moment. But I guess it's quite balanced in that it's got a bit of everything. It's got heal, it's got ways to remove big things, it's got ways of defending yourself with the Slave Arrow and the Frighten Me event, and it's got a healthy amount of 2Ks. What's it got? 4, 8, 12. Yeah, 12 2Ks, couple of counter events. There's not a whole lot of non-counter in the deck. There's these, and then of course you've got the Margaret, but I think the Margaret is not that bad because oftentimes you can cycle her out with something like a Shakuyaku draw, and then of her, of course, you're able to get a trigger, and then you can filter out non-counter from your hand by searching and then discarding a card. So that's pretty good. We'll move on to the second list that I've been considering here. So this list is the other list I've been sort of playing around with, more on the sim, I would say, just because it's a pain to unsleeve proxies and change the deck all the time. But I've been playing this one on the sim a little bit, and it's a different kind of concept. It's similar but different. So as you can see, we've traded out the Sengokus for I guess more triggers. We're playing the Grandma Nyan and we're playing Rindo. The count for the other cards is pretty much the same. We've got 2 Red Rock, got these events, we've got all our 2Ks, Hiyori and the 2 ladies, and then 3 of the Rayleigh. Yeah, pretty much we're just maxing out on triggers here. So normally we don't really play Rindo just because, you know, you don't really need to play her, but if you do want to play a trigger build, you can. That has a lot more of them in there. It increases the hit rate for sure because, you know, obviously when your opponent hits, there is a higher chance that you are going to be able to get a body, which is your win con. We're playing this Grandma Nyan. The reason I'm not playing it in the first list is my logic is, so I, at Nats, am going to expect that people know what they're doing. Obviously, if they don't, then it's better, but I have to assume that people are going to be playing correctly and that they're going to be respecting triggers and this and that. So I actually think that if people are going to be starving me all day, which I think honestly will be the case unless someone is feeling greedy or they feel pressured to attack me, cards like this lose a bit of value. So obviously we've got the Hiyori and the Grandma Nyan here. These 2 stack your life. Take one from top or bottom and then stack one. Obviously you're going to be putting a trigger on your life every time, so your opponent automatically knows that, you know, there's going to be a body there. So it's going to deter them from swinging regardless. But if they are starving you anyway, it doesn't really achieve that much. You're just playing this out. It's a 2 cost, 0, and it stacks your life for later. But if they are starving you, as I said, they're going to be swinging a whole lot in one turn as opposed to, giving you little swings across the game and giving you opportunities to get triggers. So I've opted to cut this one from the other list, and I've been playing other cards, more of the Sengoku and the 4-cost boa, which is not in this list as well. But yeah, playing Rindo, which is just another trigger body. She's got an okay effect. If they do attack it and KO it, then it heals a life and then you take a life. So they'll take a life normally because there'll be a leader effect that makes them take a life. And then if you do heal a trigger and then take that damage, then you can trigger out another body. So I suppose it's okay. But I definitely prefer the other ones. They do have more versatility. They're much less situational. Margaret's a really good searcher. Ran is really nice to give that Don to your leader. Gorgon Sisters is broken, of course. And then Shaki's just really, really good later in the game to fix your hand. Being a 2K as well is obviously really good, but there's so many times where you trigger her out later in the game, and then you get a Shirahoshi effect pretty much. You get a draw 1 from leader, you get a draw 2, and then a pitch 2. So it's draw 3, pitch 2, which really helps filter out those, non-counters in your hand. This deck has a lot less non-counters because we're not playing the 4-cost boa, but you are able to filter out some of these events that you don't need later in the game and get some more counter and events to help you survive. So that's sort of where I've landed with this one. I think this list is a lot more gamba. It's pretty fun, obviously, if they are attacking you and you're just hitting triggers all day. But as I said earlier, I think objectively people should be respecting the triggers for the deck. And again, if I'm stacking my life, then they're not going to want to attack, especially early and mid-game. So it reduces the efficacy of this kind of build considerably, in my opinion. Those are the 2 builds I have for Boa at the moment. I want to bring up a Mihawk list that I've been sort of tinkering with. I haven't been playing Mihawk a whole lot IRL, as I said, but I have been playing him on the sim a fair bit. And I'm sort of flip-flopping between lists at the moment. He is very open-ended. Figuring out what composition I want for the deck is a little tricky, but this is what I've landed on so far. Okay, so this is the list I have been sort of playing with for a little bit online. It's weird because I really do value having a Supernova engine in, but it is a little bit underwhelming sometimes. A lot of times you're not searching a lot of what you want to be playing on those curves, and then the Bonnie actually searches over a lot of these cards. So the Shanks, the 9-cost Mihawk, cards like Carrot, Tashigi, Perona. So it is actually quite problematic to not have these cards. So I've opted to cut the Bonnie entirely and just play kind of more events and more curve cards. So with this deck specifically, I really want to see this card on 7 or 8 or whatever I'm going to be on, and I definitely want to be playing something on 5. So you can see I've got 1,000,005 costs here. I think I can probably remove this Bonnie. She's okay, but obviously when I'm playing it on 5, it's not getting its effect. Later in the game, obviously it's a really nice blocker, but on curve it doesn't really do anything. Carrot's really good at being able to stun in the middle game, but yeah, obviously playing it directly on curve is not always going to be as effective either, but she's excellent like after she's established, or even after you've gotten down to Shanks. If you sort of play it maybe on that 8 or 9, or that 9 Don turn, or the 10 Don even if you don't have Lord Beppo, or it's better to just freeze something small on the field and just develop these. So it's an option. I don't really like. I'm kind of neither here nor there. I definitely would prefer to be playing Toshigi on the 5 just because she's the most efficient. Perona is okay too, but she is dependent on how much your opponent's established on a board as well. So really good if you're able to freeze a couple of things, and then obviously she can replace herself if she's removed. But she's not always the best one to play on 5, I think. So this Toshigi is just a really nice option, like in most instances. Like there's not really an instance where it's like, damn, like it's unfortunate that I have only Toshigi, you know. Sometimes Perona is better in those instances, but you know, if you're getting rushed down, it's kind of like, the deck has a fair bit of defense anyway, lots of events, and you know, if you're able to if they're attacking you with little weenies and stuff, you can attack them back with your weenies, or you know, you've got your carrot there to freeze if you want. But yeah, Perona can be okay in those instances, but in this format there's not a whole lot of like aggro decks unless you run into something like a Jinbei or something. But as I said earlier, really want to see this card on 7 or 8, one of the all-stars of the deck. Really good. If you stick this and then you're able to play this or this, your win rate increases so drastically. It's crazy. Being able to reduce your opponent's entire board, being able to rest their blockers down, or you know, keep things frozen. When you get this down and you're able to combo it with a carrot, or you're able to, you know, get the boost from the Laura and Beppo onto the leader, it starts to snowball pretty quickly for the opponent, because this thing starts attacking for 9 and resting their thing on attack pretty much. It becomes too much for them to deal with, and then the debuff is like massive. A 9k stat line is really big, so unless they red rocket or something, then it's gonna stick. So bunch of events as well in the deck. We've got this Trichilicism, and then we've got the Dead Man's Game, and then this Luffy event. Again, with the event count, I'm not 100% sure. I've got a few. I wanted to have some options to search off Perona, and then I obviously wanted to have these naturally in my hand, just because, you know, we do have that extra Don from the leader effect as well. So this Trichilicism is really good later in the game. It's pretty much Rad Beam, so having a 4k event, especially if you are a 7k base, is really nice. So a little stuck at the moment in terms of the deck build, but the concept I seem to understand, and I think I'm happy with. It's just what I kind of want to get out of the format. So that brings me to my next point. So I've showed off these 2 deck lists, or there's 3 deck lists, but what am I sort of preparing for in terms of the format? Like what am I expecting to verse? What am I expecting to have to counter, etc.? So I'll bring up a little tier list that I made. Yeah, so I just kind of made this quickly in what I think is going to be the most, I guess, represented decks, and what I think is going to be there at the event. A couple of things that I didn't point out when I was talking about BOA list is that because it is a pre-EB03 format, we don't have Nami. So that's the big difference, which, you know, would up the power of the Nami deck, of course, and then make BOA a for sure kind of pick for me. So I'll talk about these decks here, so we'll just go from bottom to top, just so we can get these out of the way. Rayleigh, I'm not sure if I'm going to see him on the day, but he's still a decent deck. I think he's still got a good game plan, but I'm not sure that he's going to be the best pick. Obviously, being a slash leader, your Mihawk's going to be 6k, which is going to be problematic. And then, yeah, I think Rayleigh's may not be able to kill Mihawk by the time he starts getting his big bodies down, so it's going to be hard. Kaido and Carrot, they get support from EB04, which we get the green, blue, and the purple cards. So I think that these decks definitely are decent, but I'm not sure on how good they'll be for the event. So I haven't versed them at all, and I haven't been able to play with them myself. I really like Carrot. I think she's a really cool deck, and I think she'll actually be pretty decent, to be honest. Kaido has been quite popular at locals. A lot of people have been playing him, but I can't really make a judgment call on him at the moment. So I put it down in the question mark tier. Rogue decks, I got a couple here. I put all the OP14 leaders in just because I wanted to just have them all here just to sort of visualize it. But in terms of Rogue, yeah, we've got Sabo, Croc, Jinbei, Moria, Blue Yellow Nami, the Red Law deck, and then Sanji. Sabo, it's unchanged. I don't think we have the promo. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, not the greatest deck, but he's definitely good, but I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for him. Croc and we'll talk about them separately. So Croc, I think it's a very interesting deck, and I think it definitely can win, but I don't think it's on par with the decks above it, in my opinion. Definitely does some cool stuff, but yeah, it might be a bit hard for him on the day. Jinbei, really cool deck, being able to, I think he's probably the premier aggressive deck apart from Zoro. Really goes wide and is able to swing a lot of 5s and 7s, but yeah, I think it's going to be tough into matchups like Ace and even more resilient decks that don't really care that you're swinging 5, 6k leaders, decks with lots of blockers and defense. Yeah, so Jinbei's down here. Moria, yep, Moria. Nami, as I said, we don't have the EB03 Nami, which is unfortunate because I would have really liked that for Boa. But yeah, I think that does hurt the deck a lot. We do have the Young Girl promo, which we get in OP14 re-release, but I don't think that's going to really tip her over to be a contender for the day, but she's definitely good. Like, I've versed her as Boa, and the matchup's a little bit tricky just because you do go to a 7k base as Nami. So when I'm attacking with Boa, it's a lot of 5s and 6s and stuff, and you're poking them down. But when you're a 7k base, I don't get as much efficiency on curves, so it makes it a bit tricky. And I also have to be aware of cards like Pudding and Life Burn cards as well. But yeah, obviously not having the Nami does change how that matchup goes for both decks. So yeah, I don't think she'll be one of the better ones, but I just definitely wanted to put her here because she's definitely rising in popularity, and I think she is a decent deck for the OP14 meta after EB03 comes out in the West. Law, yeah, Law again, same tier as Gecko. I should have probably put another tier with not them in there, but yeah, I don't have high hopes for Law, unfortunately. Sanji, I put him here just because we get the purple promos from EB. Actually, I think they're actually from, is it from? No, the Reiju is from EB03, don't mind me. So the one that copies like a 7-cost event, that one is from EB03. So I don't think he's playable, my bad. So we'll forget about Sanji. Sorry to Sanji enthusiasts out there. He'll be good soon. Relevant decks, I've got GP, UP, Zoro, Roger, and the Doffy deck. GP, unfortunately, we don't have the Robin promo. I know at my locals there are some GP enthusiasts, and he is actually a pretty decent deck. He's got some nice support, and I really like how the deck plays now. But the Robin promo may be what it really needed to verse Emu, which I think was problematic for it. So you get the Luffy from OP14, but I don't think it's going to be a nice replacement for the Robin. I think you definitely do want that Robin. But I do think that there will be some GP at the event. I think he's still definitely a decent deck. And yeah, I would not be surprised if I saw one top, to be honest, but might not be as popular. UP, I will probably see a lot more now that the Roger promos are going to be coming out. This deck pretty much dropped off the face of the planet after OP13, and there was no Roger, just because you can't beat any of the decks without Roger. But with the Roger promo, I think he does become a lot better, obviously, and playable, so I think people will be back to him. Zoro, nothing changed with Zoro, he's still fine, but obviously there are Mihawk, and there's, you've got the Emu and Ace matchup as well, which, it depends how you're building your deck. If you're building it to, have a bit of more of a wider spread, because before there was only 3 big decks in the format, then it's going to be a bit worse against the big 3, like the other 2, sorry, Emu and Ace. But yeah, you've got more problems to deal with now. You've got, you've got the Mihawk being a 6k base and 5 life. You've got, even into UP, you've got them becoming a bigger, with the Roger being able to become 8k. You've got Doffy being able to redirect your attacks. It might not be as easy as it was before, so I think he's still very good, but I don't think he's probably going to be up there in the top decks, but again, would not be surprised if I saw him top. Roger, again, just a decent deck. You get the Roger promo. I don't think he's a top deck, that's why he's down in this section. This isn't like S, A, B, or whatever. It's just what I think will be the most represented, or what I think will be there, and what I should prepare for. But yeah, Roger is still a decent pick, but yeah, certainly not one of the best. The purple Doffy deck, definitely very interesting. Was really, really popular for a bit in the OCG. Saw some pretty good results from there, but overall I think it's probably not, again, as a top deck, but it'll be pretty popular. A lot of people enjoy playing Doffy. They like him as a character. They like the deck. So I would not be surprised if I saw it. I should probably prepare for the matchup. All of this stuff in relevant decks are decks that I'm considering when I'm deck building and when I'm choosing my deck. So it is all things that I am considering. As for the top decks, I've got Boa, Mihawk, Emu, and Ace. So as I've spoken about, Mihawk and Boa are the decks that I'm considering for the event. I think that they have really good matchups into everything below it. You don't inherently have like an atrocious time into anything really, I think. I haven't encountered anything awful. Emu and Ace are still really good from OP13. Emu is just really, really consistent at what it's trying to do. Ace, obviously really bulky and good as well. But I do think the Ace matchup as Boa is pretty hard for Ace. Like, every time I've versed Ace, they have a really hard time being a 3-life leader, and having to toe the line between attacking me and starving me and knowing when to start swinging and whatnot. It's hard for them, and if they do attack, then I'm going to be able to get triggers and then swing 6s and go pretty wide, and then playing cards like Red Rock, if we are respecting the deck, then we can Red Rock their Newgate 10 cost, and then we can start summoning 9 cost Boas and taking what little life they have. So pretty hard for them, and then when they're on 0, we can just Perfume Femur them, so it's pretty hard. But Emu as Boa, I think, is a bit tricky just because we don't have that 5 cost Nami. Overall, I think that card makes the matchup a lot easier. If they do get second and they do starve, it is pretty hard, but it's not unwinnable, I think. But it definitely makes it a lot trickier depending on sort of how many events they're seeing and if they're seeing their curve and everything. If you go second as Boa, even if they do starve you, it is better, but it's still a bit of a close game. If they attack your life, then it makes it a lot easier. So if you're an Emu player, don't attack Boa. I shouldn't be saying that, but as I said earlier, it's like you should be starving Boa, I think, in my opinion. It's too risky to attack earlier in the game, and I'm getting like a Gorgon Sisters trigger, and then suddenly you're having to deal with so many extra swings across the early and mid game. It's just not worth it. Mihawk, really, really good, being able to build to deal with a bunch of problems. You're a 6k leader into Roger and Zoro and Law, I guess, if that matters, and any other slash leader, Rayleigh, Shanks, if you want to play that deck. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. You get a buff, and your deck is just inherently strong at what you're doing. I don't think there's an awful matchup as well with Mihawk. It's pretty good, and you have a really good time a lot of the time. So that's why I'm considering him. Ace, it was a deck I was playing in OP13. He has a good time if he sees his curve, wins the dice roll. He's one of the best decks in the room for sure. But I think it is definitely harder. As I said, Boa is a hard matchup. Zoro can just kill you randomly. And yeah, it can be hard to seal out the game against UP if UP does end up ramping and chaining Rogers. Then it can be really hard because you can't really interact with their leader and even deal a damage because they're 8k base. And then they've got all their Gum Giants and Gear Seconds and whatnot, so it's really hard to hit them. And then yeah, of course, as Ace, you're worried about pudding. So if you're versing Boa and you're versing UP, then the threat of pudding exists. So you have to be careful about your hand size and what you're doing. So look, that's what I'm considering for top decks and what I think will rock up at the event and what I'll be versing. Yeah. So to sort of summarize, I've been having a lot of fun with this format. It's really cool. I like how there's a lot more variety than OP13. Reminds me of OP12 in where you could play a multitude of different decks and do well. But yeah, have been finding the Boa deck to be a lot of fun, but I really like how efficient the Mihawk deck is and what it can end up doing at the later half of the game. It's going to really depend on how I want to approach the event. So I feel like I've got a decent amount of coverage for what I sort of went over in the tier list with the red rocks and being able to play a bit more defensive if needed. But unfortunately, it's going to come down to a little bit of luck on the day. I'm going to hope for a trigger every time that my opponent hits my life. And yeah, luck of the draw. Sometimes I won't hit a trigger and sometimes I will. So if I decide to leave my fate up to the Gamba gods, then I'll play Boa. But I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that, though. It's not if you don't hit triggers, you die. It obviously makes it a lot easier, but you've got some decent cards to play. Like you can extend the life of the game with Kuma, and then you've got obviously 9-cost Big Mum, which is really, really good. And the threat of Perfume Femur is obviously really, really strong too. So yeah, that's where I'm at. If you guys have any suggestions, any comments, or anything that you noticed about these deck lists, anything that you think I could improve on with these, I've got a few weeks for Nats, before Nats, sorry, and it's going to be a hectic rush to try and get some reps in and to solidify my list. But yeah, I've really enjoyed the format, as I said, and really keen to attend the event. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Would really appreciate any comments, any feedback, good, bad, left, right, up, down, whatever, about the deck, about the Mihawk deck, about this. Specifically the Mihawk deck, I think. I would really like to hear your thoughts on that, just because I am a little bit lost on a build. But the Boa build I'm a little bit more set on. But yeah, let me know if you think that Sengoku or having access to Sengoku and the 4-cost Boa blocker is better, or if I should just be leaning in more to the Gamba side. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.